Hello, welcome to the CWS CMS training. Today we are going to be discussing the Contact Notebook section. The purpose of this training. The purpose of this training is to provide you with step-by-step instructions on creating new contact entries in CWS CMS using the Contact, Associated Services, and Associated Visits tabs. The goal is to get as complete and as accurate a record as possible in CWS CMS for each child. If we can get more input into the drop-down fields of the contact section, this gives us a better picture of what the social worker or other staff person did with the client during their interactions. So let's talk about chronos. Chronos are probably the number one area in which we use CWS CMS to tell a story of what is happening with our families. While it is just as important staff document the narrative in the chrono section, the chrono alone does not allow for easy extraction of data. Using the drop-down fields gives us that option in a more efficient way and tells the story of the children and families with whom we engage with. Contact Notebook section. If you look at this picture below, you will see that it looks very familiar to you. This is where you enter your chronos. In the next segments, we will be going over how to enter information into the Case Management Services and Referral section, which is highlighted by the blue arrow. We will also be discussing the Associated Services and Visits tabs as well. So we're going to be talking about now how to enter the contact information into CWS CMS. So to begin, as you all know, we would go to the orange section, which is the Service Management section of CWS CMS. And under the Open Existing Contact Notebook, you're going to want to click the plus sign in order to add and create a new contact. Then a pop-up box will come up that says Select on behalf of child, and you'll select the child or children for whom the contact is meant and click OK. After entering the start date of the contact occurrence and you need to enter the start time. Entering the start time is recommended as this will control the print order when printing contacts. For the purposes of this training, we will be selecting the contact purpose as deliver service to client, the method as in person, the location as school, and the status as completed. Next, you're going to want to click on the yellow plus sign to select the participants for this contact. You may select as many or as few participants from the Select Participants pop-up box. Please be sure to select only those who participated in the contact. If you need to switch between clients and other participants, select the down arrow from the Participant Type drop-down menu and choose the appropriate participant type. After selecting the necessary participants, click OK. You will notice that the On Behalf of Child and Contact Party type auto-populate. You may manually change this information by clicking the yellow plus sign in the necessary sections, found right here and right here. This next section, this Case Management and Services Referral section, is really what we wanted to highlight in today's training. In the Select Case Management Services and Referral section, select the plus sign to choose the appropriate options, keeping in mind that there are more than 50 options available. Now you'll notice that it is not highlighted yellow as a mandatory field, but we want to make sure that we still put in this information. This information will allow us to have more information than just what's in the narrative section. These selections correspond with case management services in the case plan and is a record of services provided. So if I click this, it will tell us, this is the full menu of what you can put in this section. The CM refers to case management services. If you scroll down a little bit more, there's the acronym FEE, which are family engagement efforts, and then also REF, which are referrals that are made to the child or to the family. You'll also notice that there are boxes for wraparound and core services. If the case management services or referrals are part of wraparound services or core service, you can check those appropriate boxes below. These selections will populate to the Associated Services page, which is right here. Although not mandatory, entering information in this section will provide a retrievable record of all services provided to the clients. Next, you need to make sure that you fill out your narrative section, which is also known as a chrono, in the narrative field. The information provided in this field provides details of what occurred and/or what was discussed during the contact. Contact narratives should be accurate, based in fact, detailed, complete, concise, and current. This section will hold up to 8,000 characters. You notice I did not add a normal chrono in here. It's just good reminders for us to document all of the efforts that we provide with that family. Remember, no ghost chronos. We want to make sure to use behavioral observations as well as our SOP language. And this is also an opportunity for us to say thank you for all you do. In the next section, we'll be talking about associated services. Now we are going to talk about the Associated Services tab. So if case management services and referrals were selected on the Contacts tab, they will populate onto the Associated Services tab. So if we entered any information in this section right here, it should auto-populate and transfer over to the Associated Services tab. Some examples of associated services are medical, therapy, and drug treatment appointments, as well as other services such as parenting classes and independent living plan services. To edit or add information to a service that already exists on this page, click on the specific row in this section and update the corresponding fields below. So for instance, if I wanted to update the service type for referring for counseling or mental health services, you would just highlight that row and then you could update any of the information down here. For instance, if there was another participant, or maybe at that appointment there was another service recipient, you could add that there. If used correctly and consistently, workers can print a list of all services provided to a family in a given time period, and that's known as the delivered service log. If you would like to add additional associated services, then you would click the plus sign at the top left of the grid to add an additional row. Under the service section, if the service was offered but not delivered, or if there's documentation filed in the case file, you would click the appropriate box here or here. Next, you would enter the start date and the start time. Again, the start time helps you filter out and put in order when you print the delivered service log. Under the service category section, click the arrow to the right for the drop-down menu. You will find 16 service categories to choose from. So if I click that, you will see that there are 16 different options that you can choose from for the associated service. After selecting the service category, select the service type. So if I do education services, then different subtypes come up. So if I could add tutoring to that one. Be aware that for every different type of service category available, there are multiple selections available under the service type drop-down menu. After choosing service type, check the appropriate box under wraparound or core service. Examples of core services are behavioral health support, education support, or extracurricular and social supports, etc. Next, you'll notice that the On Behalf of Child section is already populated with the selected focused child from the previous page. If you would like to select additional children, click on the plus sign highlighted in yellow. Next, you will select the service recipient in the section to the right. So again, we can add Bobby as a service recipient, and then maybe Marcia got tutoring that day as well. Select one or more appropriate clients from the pop-up box after clicking the plus sign highlighted in yellow and click OK. If there are any other participants included in this contact or associated service, enter their names and details in the Other Participants section. In the narrative section, enter details about the service the clients were referred to or was provided. Contact narratives should be accurate, based in fact, detailed, complete, concise, and current. If you notice, each service category and service type, you can offer and write a different narrative for each one. So my narrative for tutoring could be different than my narrative for referring to counseling and mental health services. Under the provider section, enter the details for who performed the service. Click on the binoculars icon to search for staff persons, service providers, collaterals, or substitute care providers as needed. For this example, we are clicking service provider, clicking the binoculars icon to search and select counselor under the service provider category. Additionally, we are using the percentage sign for our wildcard shortcut for the first last name, ensuring that the red checks are indicated under the first three criteria as well as the county of location criteria lower down on the list. So we can click any of these for the service provider that we want to find. So if we want to find the counselor, and then you can put the percentage signs here, and then make sure that it says Sacramento, and then you would click OK, and then you would get a list of providers for that service. If you're entering information for a child and family team meeting, this section will not activate unless case management services is selected for the service category and child and family team is selected for the service type. When this is done, the lead agency, facilitator, and key roles, and were all the children present at the meeting down here below, will activate, and you will complete this section as required. Now we'll be talking about the Associated Visits tab. Associated visits are records on client visits. Examples of associated visits would be visits between children and their parents, siblings, grandparents, friends, and/or other family members. If creating contacts for visits by outside providers, staff would complete information on the Contacts tab and then complete the Associated Visits tab with details of the visit. To add an associated visit, click on the plus sign in the top left-hand corner. Enter the start date for the date the visit occurred. Although start time is not mandatory, it's helpful when you enter the time, as this will help control the print order when printing contacts. Next, complete the method by clicking the down arrow on the right side. The method is right here. By clicking the down arrow on the right side of the method section and selecting the appropriate option, followed by clicking the status, either attempted or completed. For the purpose of this training, we'll put it as completed. You will notice that while the focus child is already populated in the participant section, you can select the plus sign highlighted in yellow to select additional participants already associated with the case, such as parents, siblings, grandparents, or collaterals. I added Carol Brady as a participant in this situation. If there were any other participants included with the visit, you can enter the names in the other participants section found here. After selecting the participants or entering information in the other participants section, under the visit party type, select the plus sign highlighted in yellow to select the visit party type, such as child and grandparent, child, parent, and guardian, and others. So for this situation, I made it a child and parent guardian visit party type. After making these selections, move on to the visit supervision section to select who supervised the visitation. So if it was an unsupervised visit, you would leave it unsupervised, but if it was a supervised visit, you would say who did the supervision. So a staff person, a substitute care provider, or other. And you would want to make sure that these staff people or substitute care providers were listed as the other participants in this section. Finally, you would want to enter information into the narrative section on the bottom to enter details about the associated visit. Again, narratives should be accurate, based in fact, detailed, complete, concise, and current. And this section will hold up to 8,000 characters. You want to make sure that you are using behavioral observations in this as well, as to what you're observing during the visit. All of the information that we just went over is available in a CWS CMS quick guide for the Contact Notebook section, and was created for you to refer back to at any time. This can be found on the intranet in the Information for Computer, CWS CMS, SDM, and Safe Measures section. A copy of the quick guide is also attached to this online training in My Learning. If you have any questions regarding this training, please discuss them with your supervisor and/or contact CPS training at saccounty.net. Thank you so much and have a great day.